What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Facts Not Included review of The Mandalorian. Episode number 3 has come out. The episode is entitled The Sin. If you haven't checked out this episode, or maybe you even, I don't know, maybe you skipped out on watching the first 2 episodes for some reason and you want to hear about this episode, I don't know what you're doing, but please make sure you are watching The Mandalorian, because this is spoiler territory. That has big implications for the future of Star Wars, according to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. The future of Star Wars rides on this show. Just kidding. They've never said that. But what they have said is this mystery character, as we're all calling Baby Yoda, has a larger implication in the future of the universe of Star Wars. So I don't know what that means. Maybe he's in The Rise of Skywalker. We have no idea. But this is, I'm going to say right off the bat, my favorite episode of the season 1. You know, this is absolutely the best episode they've made. And the very interesting part about all of this is it's directed by Deborah Chow. If you know anything about her, she's done a lot of TV directing. But the most interesting aspect about all of this is that the Obi-Wan show that they're going to start shooting very soon, I think in the next couple of months, is going to be directed entirely by Deborah Chow, as if it's like a giant movie. And so that just gives me a good feeling, knowing that if she can kick ass on a Star Wars episode like this, she of course could kick ass on a 6-episode, 8-episode series with the Obi-Wan show that's going to be coming out. And again, if you know anything about TV and TV directing, they don't necessarily keep the same person to direct every single episode. That's very rare. Maybe they might do the first couple of episodes, or, every other episode or whatever, but it's usually a new director every episode, or so on and so forth. But it's never really the same person. That's quite rare in TV. And so, again, for her to take control of a whole season of a Star Wars show, that's going to be really interesting. But anyway, let's get back into The Mandalorian. So this episode opens up with Mando and the kid on the ship. So Baby Yoda tries to take a piece of the, the throttle or something, from Mando's ship, the little top piece off, and play with it in his mouth. And, Mando at first is kind of, in this earlier on in the episode, he's like, hey, that's mine. I'm going to put it back. This is not yours. It's not a toy, so I'm going to put it back. And so, again, we see that later in the episode. We see the opposite occur, but we'll get to that later. So he's bringing the baby to Werner Herzog's character. I don't know his name. But from what we understand, he's a former Imperial. Now he's a warlord, some sort of, big name in the world of dirty deeds, if you will, in the world of Star Wars at this point in the universe. Remember, 5-6 years after Return of the Jedi, the Empire has fallen. Many warlords are around. Many, individuals like that exist. Former, or current sympathizers of the Empire are working for men like him, who were possibly members of the Empire themselves. So, what's really interesting is that he brings when he brings the baby there, the doctor examines the baby. And what I'm thinking that they're looking for, and I know, we don't like this word, and that's probably why they don't mention it, but I think they're talking about midichlorians here. I think they're talking about this baby has a high count, because he says he's very healthy, yes indeed, or whatever words that they use, to me gives some sort of inclination that they were checking for some midichlorians. I'm just saying, it's not something that we want to be hearing as people who don't necessarily like that word, but I think in the world that we live in now, I think the word midichlorian is going to be a little bit easier to digest, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to digest now than it used to be in the early 2000s, but I think that's what happens. So I also saw something on Reddit, and I'm very interested about this, is the idea that the insignia that is on the doctor's right arm, right shoulder area, bicep, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, we could talk about this on factsnotincluded.com/forum, is this Insignia of Kamino. Now, if you're a Star Wars fan, you know exactly what Kamino is. You know exactly who they are. If you don't know, that's the planet. Those are the people, those weird alien people that created the clone army for Sidious, you know? And so does this mean that he's trying to do the same thing with a Yoda character? That'd be very dark and twisted. And so who knows? Who knows? So so anyway, we noticed that insignia. It's something I think I might have mentioned that in episode 1, but it's something that I have noticed again and again. So he gets his bounty reward, and it's a lot of Beskar pieces, the metal that the Mandalorians use to cast their armor and whatnot. And the kid is taken away, and he asks Werner Herzog, "Hey, what's gonna happen?" And Werner's like, "Listen, man, you know the code of conduct. You know the code of the guild. You're not supposed to be asking questions. What? You're not supposed to be knowing what's going on after the bounty is over. That's it. Capiche? Be quiet." And so this gives us a little insight that, okay, Mando, yeah, he's true to his people. He's true to his religion, you know, his doctrine. But he has a heart, and he's grown a liking to this little kid, though he's much older than him. The kid is much older than him, and he has a heart, right? So he cares. He wants to know that maybe, oh my God, are they gonna kill him or whatever? And so that gives us a little insight again into who Mando is. And we're calling him Mando because that's what they're calling him in the show. That's his nickname. So he visits the Mandalorian people down under, in some sort of underworld base type of thing, because remember they're gone into hiding, and we find out a couple of things about Mandalorian history, or not history per se, but their life as of now. Werner Herzog even says there's not many Mandalorians out there, but we do find out there is quite a number of them underground, and they're possibly a strong reason why Werner doesn't believe there's a lot of Mandalorians is because of what one of them says. Not too many of them could be seen in public. It might cause maybe too many questions. It might cause an anti-Mandalorian sentiment. Who knows? But not too many of them could be seen in public. So they mention that a bit. They're also not too fond of him, his fellow Mandalorians. They're not too fond of him taking Imperial stolen Beskar, which occurred during the Great Purge, which is now a canon thing where apparently the Empire attacked Mandalore and took a ton, if not all, of their precious metals. And it looks like they're going to kill him. It looks like they're going to fight or hurt Mando, especially this one big, burly, armored Mandalorian. But the woman, the blacksmith, reminds them that, hey, we need each other, all this stuff. And another catchphrase occurs in this episode. Another phrase, another motto, another way of life is mentioned in this episode, reminding us of the one from the first episode, which is, "I have spoken." And the new one is, "This is the way." And it seems like that's something the Mandalorians tell each other in order to stay focused, to stay on path, to stay on their journey to, I don't know what their journey is, but it's just their motto. It's their way of life. This is the way. Whatever it is that we have to do, well, hey, this is the way I guess God intended it to be. It's kind of one of those type of sayings. And so flashbacks begin to occur as the armor is being molded, and she's giving him that weapon, the whistling birds or whatever it's called. And if I'm not mistaken, this has to be during the Clone Wars. It can't be during any other time, and it has to be during the Clone Wars. I'm 99% sure he's a kid during the Clone Wars. And my theory is, and I've heard this from some people, but my theory is, I don't think he's a Mandalorian by birth. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a Mandalorian by adoption, in a sense. I think they took him under their wing, and that is all he's known. So he's a Mandalorian. Just like the idea of Jango Fett. Jango Fett was never a Mandalorian from Mandalore. He was an individual that stole some armor, and he got indoctrinated in the way of the Mandalorian people, and that's more or less how he became, quote-unquote, Mandalorian. And I think that's more or less the same here, except that Mando, or whatever we're going to call him going forward, again, Mando is the way that we're going to call him, was nursed into the Mandalorian ways, because maybe they saved him. I mean, again, right when that droid's about to shoot him in the face, it cuts to the armor again. And maybe that's something we're going to find out later. Oh, who saved him? Boom. Boba Fett or something like Jango Fett, whoever. There's got to be some sort of story there. So we'll find that out as time goes on. I don't remember this character's name. And I'm going to look it up, because he's kind of an important character, I think, going forward. And let's figure out his name. Carl Weathers' character, for those that don't know who I'm talking about. His character's name is Grief Karga. Okay, so Mr. Karga is telling Mando that he needs to relax, enjoy the spoils of a great bounty. And Mando's like, no, I want to go on another job. And they're like, oh, he's like, okay, but all these people, are pretty upset at you now. And, they're going to continue to be pretty upset with you unless you get the fuck out. Get out. Go away. Enjoy yourself. Relax. But he doesn't. He wants another job. So he gives him another job. He tells him he has to go to stop this Mon Calamari somewhere for a band. I don't know, remember what it was. But he was going to go do that job. So he goes on his ship. He turns on the ship. And he realizes, nope. My job's not over here. I gotta go save this child. I have to save this child regardless of this code thing. It doesn't matter right now. I need to make sure this kid's safe. So he decides to turn back, decides to go back. So as he's going back, he does some covert thing, kills that little droid thing, gets on a roof, and with his weapon, he's able to see, I guess it's through his helmet, he's able to see and hear through the walls. And so what he's hearing is, and I think I quoted it properly, is that he heard Werner Herzog's character, and let's find out his name. His name is, but it's a very fun, interesting name. Let's see, the Client. His name is the Client. That's strange. He tells the Doctor character to extract the necessary materials. His name is Dr. Pershing, if you guys want to know. Extract the necessary material. And again, I think that has to do with DNA. Again, maybe some midichlorian information, maybe not, maybe it's just DNA extraction. And I think that goes to the theory that, that individual is a cloner. He knows how to make clones. And I think that's where it was going until Mando comes in and kind of like well, how do you say that? Stealth-like. He covertly gets inside, kills everyone in sight, more or less, or stuns them. The Imperial, quote-unquote, the Imperial troopers, the stormtroopers. He gets the Doctor, and this is where it gets interesting. Because I still don't know if I should believe the Doctor or not. But the Doctor really quickly believes that Mando's there to kill him and the kid. And he doesn't want him to kill the kid. He's telling him he's just a kid. Don't kill him, don't hurt him. But Mandalore Mandalorian boy, Mando, Pedro Pascal, tells him, what were you going to do to the kid? What were you doing? And he told him, listen, if it wasn't for me, he'd be dead already. Is that true? Is that true? Should we believe Dr. Pershing? I don't know. I don't know if we should. Maybe there's more to this character than meets the eye. But anyway, Mando winds up taking the kid with him. And Pershing has no idea he did it until he gets up and notices that the kid is gone. And so we move on. And probably the craziest moment in this episode, that probably where all the budget went to, is a really epic fight that ensues in the streets of whatever town they're in. And it's really cool because remember, everybody had trackers and they kept all the trackers for that kid. And so everywhere he goes in the streets, it keeps beeping, beeping, beeping. And everybody starts to realize, oh my God, this kid is somewhere. This bounty is somewhere in the streets. And they start following. They start realizing, okay, this guy has him. And that's when we meet Carl Weathers again, Karga. And he's telling him, listen, man, put that kid on that speeder. I'm on your side. Turns out, not the case. So Mando decides to whip ass, kick some ass, kills practically everyone there, almost, though. Almost. It gets real dangerous because now he's under heavy fire, and he's stuck on that little land speeder that can't go anywhere. And he needs backup quick, because if not, they're gonna kill him at this point. Someone's gonna throw in a little grenade or a bomb in there, and he's done. Kid's done. He's done. Turns out, guess who saves the day? The entire Mandalorian group or regiment, whatever, that it was there with him underground. They came out of nowhere, and they were like, "Listen, dude, we got this. Go take care of business. Get away with that kid." And that's exactly what happens. He runs back to his ship. But who does he find waiting for him in the ship? It was, of course, Karga, Mr. Grief Karga, Carl Weathers' character, as we were just talking about him. And he decides to shoot at him to kill him, because Karga's already shooting at him to kill him and or the baby. Shoots Karga. Turns out, brief second we think Karga's dead. Turns out that Mando shot the Beskar on his chest. He's still alive. So we're going to be seeing more of him. I'm sure of it going down the line. But the really fun part is the episode ends just the way the episode began, with Yoda baby putting that little piece of the ship in his mouth to go play with it again. And Mando lets him do it. He gives it to him. He just hands it to him. He's like, all right, here, go have fun. And again, it's an insight to this character. I know we mentioned that in the last episode. Who is this Mandalorian? Who's this Mando guy? What do we know about him? When you think about a Mandalorian, you think about a fierce warrior, a person that takes a no, does not take no for an answer. You know, they're just strong-willed individuals, and that is entirely true when it comes to Mando. But what's also true, which is something you don't necessarily think about when you think of a Mandalorian, is the idea that they have compassion and heart. You know, that they genuinely care about other individuals other than themselves or the task that needs to be completed. And so this is a very interesting insight to the Mandalorian, into I guess psyche or whatever, that okay, not all of them think and breathe this way. There are a few that think this way, which is compassion, understanding, and stuff like that. So I think that's a really fascinating turn of events, if you could say, with this character, and going forward, knowing that okay, he's gonna do whatever it takes to save this kid, even though he's already received his reward for bringing the kid in. And now the question remains is, one, what is the significance of this Yoda-like baby? Who is the mom? Who's the dad? What is the warlord's plans for it? What there's so many more questions that should be answered, but probably won't be answered for quite a long time. And what I mean by quite a long time, I'm not even talking about season 1. I'm not even talking about season 2. This might be a Rise of Skywalker answer. This might be some sort of another movie thing. Like, who in the world knows? And that's what's so fascinating about this, and that's why I enjoy every second of it. It's really interesting because I saw a theory online, and I know this is going to sound strange, and I know this sounds like it's pushing it, but I like reading fun theories just because, it's something out of the norm. It's out of left field sometimes, and this one I find to be interesting. Again, I don't think it's true. Actually, I don't even want to think it's true, but it's kind of freaking cool. So, the theory is that Anakin wasn't the chosen one, right? Anakin, at this point, would be roughly around the age of this baby Yoda. This baby Yoda would be roughly around the age of Anakin Skywalker. What if the chosen one in the prophecy was this baby Yoda? Huh? Interesting, isn't it? Again, highly unlikely, pretty much 99.99% impossible. But what if that's the case? What if he's the chosen one? Again, a lot of people say Luke's the chosen one. A lot of people say Anakin's the chosen one. Maybe neither one of them's the chosen one. Maybe it's Rey. Maybe it's Kylo. No one really knows. Or do they? That's the thing. I think they've talked about the actual answer to this, but it's really interesting to figure out, like, maybe it is this Yoda kid, and maybe he will bring balance to the Force. That's something to think about. Let's talk about this on factsnotincluded.com/forum. We're going to be, again, you could just sign up there, talk The Mandalorian. I want you guys to have a discussion with you and your friends. Let's do this. We're up to episode 3 now, of course, The Sin. But if you guys want to talk about episode 1 or episode 2 or any other future episodes of The Mandalorian, this is a perfect place to do it. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And again, tune in to next week's episode where we talk about The Mandalorian episode number 4. I'm so excited. Hope you guys enjoy. If you are in America, enjoy your Thanksgiving. We will be having an episode the day after Black Friday. So I guess this is it. Again, that was our little talk and review of The Mandalorian. Again, I loved it. Best episode yet. Deborah Chow is amazing. I hope she directs more Mandalorian episodes going forward. I don't know if she has any for the rest of the season, but if she does, they're going to be amazing. But yeah, that's been us here at Facts Not Included. Again, don't forget to check us out on social media. If you have any topics for future episodes or anybody that you would like to have us talk to for an interview on the episodes, on our future episodes, just hit us up at factsnotincluded@gmail.com. We're looking forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.